be Eckerd.
We have to think.
Eckerd, yeah, go to Eckerd.
Where's the registers? Gas
Yes.
stations are open.
Yes,
I don't know. You told your teacher what?
I wanted to be Barbara Walters.
Why? She's old.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna be here. She's gonna be dead.
Alright, so we ready to do our,
What is she shaking?
I'm taking the flashlight so that if I need it in the pantry. But you're gonna have to shake probably the whole trip to actually get it to work the whole time in the pantry.
And if you have to shake it in there, he'll
No,
hear
I'm
that.
not. I have another. I have a backup flashlight.
So why don't you use the backup flashlight that actually works with an off and on switch?
Because
Oh yeah, we really want to do
this is good
that.
exercise.
Who told you to bring that dumb thing?
The flashlight, Lauren.
The one that you shake?
Lauren tells me to bring everything. I do everything
I
Lauren
don't
tells
know
me.
why she listens to me after
I don't either, because it's
trash.
really not the smartest thing to do, because you do have a red sunburn from that, you know.
Not anymore. I got hair on my nose.
Alright, so give us your spiel now. You ready?
Okay. Well, basically, I've known for probably 6 weeks, at least. I probably had it in the back of my mind, but for about 6 weeks, I've known that I was going to come home. And, my dad was gracious enough to work with me on that, so we planned this little trip to come home, and I decided that I just wasn't going to tell Tommy. No need for that. So, then a few weeks later, Mom and I started, or Mom was looking at houses, and then Mom and I had found one, and then she actually was going to buy it, and it just worked out that she would close on it on the day before, or the day that I was coming home, because I came home on March 10th, which was yesterday. And so I was already coming home before the whole house thing, and then we decided, well, that would be cool. Instead of just, you know, surprising Tommy in the morning when he'd come over to do lawns, I would just go to the house that we got and surprise him there, since he was going to go see the house anyway. And we're just going to take a quick commercial break. Lauren needs to blow her nose.
That's
Want
alright.
to zoom in on that?
Yeah,
Stop. It's not funny.
It's not.
It's not funny?
Mom!
You have other shoes that match better.
They were in the floor and y'all were hollering at me, so I put them on.
I understand how that is.
Dad, stop.
We'll be there in a minute. You want to finish filming Amanda before we
Okay.
get there.
Alright.
Let her blow.
Are your puffs getting you down? Use Ultra Puffs. Okay. Brought to you by...
Snot nose.
This is gross. Where's my flashlight? Oh, there it is. Okay, yes. So, where was I? March 10th, coming home. So, we decided that I would surprise Tommy at the house, and I would stand in either a closet or something, and then as a few days ago, we decided on the pantry. So, I'm going to stand in the pantry, and I think that I'm pretty positive Tommy knows nothing, so if he tries to say that he had figured it out, he really didn't. He'd be full of trash. But he doesn't ever show emotion, so he's not gonna, like, you know, pass out or jump up and down or scream or anything like that. He might say, oh wow, something like that. But if he says, oh, I figured, you know, something like that, he's just saying that because he doesn't want to look dumb. He doesn't ever want to look dumb. So he's going to use that, but he really, there's no way he could have known, because, I mean, there was nothing that would make him think I was coming home. My stories were consistent. I was white gloving early because I had a broadcast to do. All last night he thought I was at this broadcast, so there's no inconsistencies in my story, except there was one night on the phone when I was telling the visitor, I was like, and 3 of us are going home this weekend, but I just said of us, and there's 4, so who knows who the 3 were, but you know. So, and he was busy and he really didn't catch on to that. So, I mean, there were some things that he could have caught on to, but he didn't. So, I think we're good, but that's my call on how he'll react to the whole thing. Yeah.
Any comments, Lauren?
We're still getting boogered.
Any comments?
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm gonna need to finish with this flashlight here. It's wrong to grumble, I know, but I do think washing dishes and keeping things clean and tidy home here is just the worst work in the world. My hands get so stiff that I can't practice well at the piano at all.
Oh, yeah.
Libel, I'd say so, and not talk about labels as if father was a jar of pickles.
I know what I mean, and you need me article about it. It's proper remember to use words and improve your vocabulary. Anyways, I don't use slang words like you. And I don't whistle either. It's
I'm gonna
so
need
boyish.
to know if I need
The mailbox is the first section, number 2.
You have to stop doing that now.
Well, I just need to know if I need to duck.
I don't see anything in the driveway, so.
I don't see it.
Well, someone's gonna need to watch our back too.
Okay, well, Dad, you've got the keys, Amanda, right?
Most
Give me.
people are like 90 in here.
I can just open the garage. Open the garage, Amanda. You've got the clicker.
Which button? The big one?
The big one, I would imagine. Okay. Lauren, watch behind us. Okay, video flags everywhere. Are they both in there?
Wait, let's practice. All right. 1, 2, 3.
I'm gonna hit both of my hips on the way out, and it's gonna hurt really bad. Wait, I fit. Barely. Boy.
Good thing you didn't need to
Just use
like
my
more.
purses. Oh, that's really cute. The backpack. Does anybody want these?
It is cute.
Oh, look at the little fins. For my little poodle. Oh, it is a little backyard. Look at the pictures.
Amanda, do you have bedroom lamps? Because there's no ceiling light in there.
Well, he has 2 lamps that his aunt gave us, so if we're not gonna.
You can ring the doorbell now.
Where's your
Okay.
mom? Okay.
All right. You can just barge in now. Okay. So say hi to Amanda in the video.
Hi.
I'll
Do you
send
want
this
a
to her.
close-up of the goatee?
didn't want to say hi to
Because
him.
Oh,
my-
that's right. Amanda, take a look at this. Okay. All right. All right. You got to give one of that.
This would be your living room. And that
I
would
like
be your
the green.
cable. And that would be your cable.
The green carpet's not bad.
And they ran
It's
out
really
of
not,
green.
yeah.
They thought they had green paint left and they didn't.
So,
See, the carpet's in really good condition. Amanda has
gorgeous.
issues. Oh, man.
I'm-
It's just the color she's not a fan of.
I'll
And
feed her into
of course, it might be a little distorted in the pictures too that we sent, but
okay. Okay. So,
very nice.
It's even got a radio on it.
yeah,
it's a
Oh,
an
regular
intercom, yeah.
And the alarm runs just
Good
like
speakers
ours.
throughout the-
And they gave us their code, but you can change it.
Oh.
What is it, like,
It's not, it's
stereo phone or something?
Well, through the
the
intercom.
intercom.
There's the intercom. There's one out back on
You
the
can play
thing.
radio
Yeah.
through the house, there's little speakers in
Cool.
all the bedrooms.
We have to do that.
Okay. So, am I done, or you gonna give her a video tour of the house?
I'm not
For
good with
Amanda?
the video
No?
camera.
Okay,
Well, I'll
show
film
this
you.
surprise.
Here, you
Let's
give
see
her
what
the
they
tour
left
then,
you.
and I'll send this to her when we're
You gotta
done.
see what they left you, this is hysterical. You're gonna die. You're gonna be in
Dead
trouble too.
fish in the fridge.
Look what they left you.
Sweet.
Oh, boy.
Champagne to Christmas, huh?
There you
Yeah,
go.
buddy.
Yeah, get a picture of him with
Okay,
the
there we
wine
go.
up there.
There we go.
because You want
Okay.
that floating around Bob Jones.
Around the church, too.
I said, are you taking that? He goes, no, I'm gonna leave it. There was a built-in wine rack with the apartment. Okay.
All right. You got,
He moves the floor.
so you got to show her the rest of the kitchen, the refrigerator.
Show her the pantry.
Be like Vanna White. Here's the.
Van White.
Well,
I'm not
this
a
is
good
for
actor.
Amanda.
No?
Show her the pantry, because it's got a lot of room.
Oh my.
I just get a picture.
Surprise! Hi. And you knew about this too, didn't you?
Yeah.
And she kept it a secret. That's amazing.
Yeah. Last night you thought I was at school.
You called again.
The funniest thing was when he called and said, do you care if my parents come over Saturday morning? I'm like, oh, I'm fine with it.
You can take it. really
Could you
slow.
hug? I missed it.
I had to get myself out of the pantry. Flashlight.
There's no light
Are
in
we
the pantry.
claustrophobic? No,
There's no light in
I'm
there.
surprised I fit in there, actually.
You know they make those battery motion sensor lights, so
Mhm.
she probably.
I had to shake this all the way here.
Come on,
to
get
line up to make sure it works.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's go to that Princeton store right there. Let's see if they.
So.
Surprise!
really good instinct. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, right.
You were clueless.
No, I started to get this feeling. I don't know why. Maybe it's because when you were talking to Vicky, you just said we're going out with the girls for lunch, and I was like, but how do?
I said we're having a girl
But
lunch
she didn't
today.
know the background to the story. Like she didn't. I just.
She didn't have to know. She could just send me and you one.
But yeah, no, I really didn't know completely.
Be
so.
surprised.
I am surprised.
Look.
Hi, sweetie.
Oh, and look, Nancy's here.
Good. How are you doing?
Thank you. So you're surprise. I really wanted you to be here. I was just telling my mom this morning, I said I wanted the monorail at my bridal shower. And she's like, oh, so you want punch at your shower? And then all of a sudden I was like,
Amazing, she's here.
so I guess Amber is still. Amber's
Here.
Go over there, dear.
Oh, it was really good yesterday when we picked them in.
Yeah, number 26, that wasn't funny.
It
That's
was
my
on
line.
their way home too. They're driving. There's like 7 of them. I told her it was just. I'm like, yeah. I said, oh, they probably won't get my phone till like tomorrow night. And it's like, yeah, it's gonna take a long time.
That was Amanda.
Oh, was it? You got it.
Oh, we're here. Come here.
Oh.
Oh, no, we're related. No, I thought we were related and I just missed you.
And there's quoting.
Yeah, you know, they're having a party.
Oh, boy. And so your roommate, you'll really learn to like each other. Thank you. Well, I'm so, it's kind of like the engagement thing. I just, and I wondered why you didn't hug me tonight.
Oh.
Apparently you and I
It's okay, Lauren, I took the goal.
and Lauren and all. They should.
Hi,
And you make this exception. Are you happy now? How was your Did you learn anything from shop?
So you guys have keep us a secret from Tom? Yeah, I opened the pantry door and you shut it. And my face, and then I opened it again and yeah, so that was, I tried to email you. Does your account not work anymore? Is it not? I sent it back. It was like, and I can't ever ask Tom anything because he doesn't care anything. Yeah. We're just letting it was a nice long email too. I was like, forget it. So, there you go. Just put it on it was the Acts 4:12. Is that the right one? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Hi. Hello.
You told somebody already?
Not exactly.
Ow.
Okay. 2 more people. Okay. Where do you want me to sit? In the middle. Okay.
Is this why Sean Amanda? I don't know how to write that. It's stupid.
You want me to take a picture of my cake?
Go ahead. I'll do this one. But I wanted you with the cake. Is it too dark enough?
Wait, the flash should come
It's the memory that I'm wearing short on.
Oh, good.
Can we make that brighter? Isn't there a flash?
Wait, I don't know. I didn't do it right.
Do you really want us to try to? Do you want to keep
Wait, I can get one of myself with
Here, I'll take it. What do you want to do? Squat? Your leg? You can lay across the table. You can sit on the table. She'll do it.
I would lay.
I'd have to jump over the table, and they probably would think that's
You're
not
not,
too.
you guys can come back. I'm just trying to.
This is really a
If you're still speaking to me. No, I was thinking probably you weren't speaking to me because of your employment opportunity.
I have a good situation right now.
I told Glenda, I said, she's the one that took my place, so she probably.
Yeah.
The words that I say, God would bless them, and that they would be used as instruction to maybe help you make some decisions along the way. I hope that there have been many times in my life that I've prayed, God, let me learn by example and not necessarily have to go through some of the things. You know, sometimes it's easier to learn by other people than to have to walk through something yourself. In being happy, I feel very blessed for myself, and Mark and I will be married this year. It'll be 24 years. And it's been a journey, and it is a journey. And I asked God to give me some things to share with you today. And one of the things that the Lord reminded me of is in a marriage, you know, when God created Adam and then he created Eve, he took Eve from his side. He created them to be side by side. Although the man is the spiritual leader in the home, he created you to be equal. And I think that's a beautiful picture and something that we should remember. But as women, I can tell you for myself, sometimes I get anxious in that spiritual setting, and I want to go ahead of my husband, and it's not God's plan. I have to remember that although my husband has the responsibility of caring for our family and taking care of us and leading us in a spiritual sense, that if something happens that he doesn't make the right decision, he's one that has to answer to God. So it's easy sometimes for a woman, we want to do what's right all the time, and sometimes we want to lead our husband. Sometimes we're in that position. I've heard it said that the biggest thing in marriage that can, the biggest trial in a marriage can be money issues. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that money issues can be very stressful in a marriage, but if you will put God first and pay your tithes, I can tell you from experience that God will provide. In Malachi 3:8 it says, will a man rob God, or how will you rob God? And it says we rob him in our tithes and offerings. And I can tell you how many times you go to the checkbook and you say, well, it's either groceries or my tithes, and that the flesh that just says, Lord, you know we have to eat, how we rationalize with the Lord. But the time, when you make that decision to pay your tithes, it's amazing how groceries show up, or, oh, I made an error in my checkbook and I have extra money here. God always provides. And so take that from my example, because there have been times that we were not faithful in paying our tithes, and God will get what belongs to him. Love is a choice. It's a decision. And this is a wonderful time before the wedding, and when the wedding happens, and then you get home, and what happens after the wedding. And so one of the things that I wanted to give you today was this book that I wish that I'd had on my wedding day, and it's called The 5 Love Languages. And it talks about different, that each of us have a unique makeup, and everybody's different in how they respond to their mate, or how, for example, in here it talks about love language 1 is words of affirmation. Love language number 2 is quality time. Love language number 3 is receiving gifts. Love language number 4 is acts of service. And love language number 5 is physical touch. Well, before reading this book, I thought I knew Mark very well. And I thought I knew myself very well. But after reading this book, it's so easy for me to see that I am an acts of service person. You know, you can buy me, Mark can buy me a gift, and it's like, that's nice, honey, you really don't have to do that, we don't need to do that. But do something for me, and oh, that's so wonderful. You cleaned that for me, you took the time to do that. And and for somebody else, that might not be a big deal. They might be a gift person. But also knowing your husband, knowing what Tommy is. You probably feel like, now I know him so well. But this book really, really will help you. It's in this book it talks about, physical touch could be one of the, sometimes it's hard for a man to determine what his two things are, because a lot of times men are driven by physical touch. But that might not be, just read the qualifications. This book has been very helpful to me. Flee the world and cling to God. The world has lots of ideas out there, lots of ideas on television, and if you look at the background of them, most of the time it's not surrounded, by God. And so cling to God and flee what the world says should work. It's probably wrong. Turn to God. Be content. Philippians 4:11 says, not that I speak of respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. It is so easy to look and see what somebody else has or somebody else does and say, well, I don't have that, or he didn't do that for me. Be content with what you have. And I believe that this book will help a lot in that respect too. Respect convictions. You may have convictions like, don't sing at the table. No, they may not be biblical convictions, but that's a little private joke. My husband has this thing about singing at the table, which Amanda knows. It's important to respect those convictions, and you're also very blessed with heritage. You both already have a jump start because you both come from Christian families. You already know. You've watched both of you have parents that have successful marriages. That's amazing in the day in which we live in. But the other thing that I want to tell you is that every person in this room, especially if we are Christians, and I hope that everybody is, we're charged to give you godly counsel. And the Bible speaks specifically about not walking in the counsel of the ungodly. So if he's telling you don't do that, what he wants you to do is walk in the counsel of the godly. So there are lots of people in this room. Don't ever be afraid to ask. Don't ever be afraid to say, what do I do with this? Or what happens if I feel this way? Or how do I take care of this? You're going to have lots of questions. Some of those things will be wonderful. You'll find out on your own. But my prayer is that if any time you need me, that I would always give you godly counsel and always be an encouragement to you and Tommy in your relationship. And I'm so excited about what God has for you in the future. And it's an exciting journey, but there will be tests and there will be trials, but you can do all things through Christ. And your love together and finding out really who each other is the most wonderful part of the journey. I'm going to do this book. Pass that down to her. Homework. It's so important that we hear a message. Actually, it's a client, so I'm like.
Okay, so we have just a couple more things before we get to the biggest and bestest part. Sitting in the back. I'm an English major. I'm Okay, so as of right now,
You want us just to pass
do
them
you need
around?
help? Well, I wasn't going to get it. I was going to.
Okay, turn them upside down.
Okay.
Get 'em.
Oh, yeah.
I know them if you don't get them right.
We know this. Okay, so we have a little trivia game, and it is how well do you know the bride to be, Amanda? And I have to say, no problem, dear. I have to say, some of these are pretty hard. I've known Amanda since high school, but we've gone through a lot, and some of this stuff I don't even know. So good luck. Whoever gets the most, we'll give you like
3 minutes.
I was gonna say about 5 minutes.
I did 3 parts on
Is anybody missing a seat?
Nancy's up.
No, Nancy's here.
and I, yeah.